Good morning and welcome to, I think, episode 8 of Saturday Morning Comics. I think it's 8. Um, well, we've got a very special guest today, Austin. Austin, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. I hope
Yeah,
everybody's doing good.
good to have you. I know I'm drawing a blank on when it was. I know we were supposed to have you on at one point, and we never did. So
It was,
good, good to finally have you on the
yeah,
yeah.
good to be on. I was uh looking forward to it. This whole campaign, because I know that you have a very fun crew in here, and I was excited to talk to everybody about it.
Yeah. Usually get a pretty good group on a Saturday morning, so it's which is good. So hopefully
Hmm.
we'll get some new eyeballs on your project and introduce them to you. I know I've seen you on Gary B. I know K-pop,
Hmm.
Katie. So good group of people there. So,
Yes, I love
but
those guys.
let's just say hello to the chat before we get into it. Um, Thomas is here. Good morning. First in line. Brad is here. Wellbore. Good morning. I know there was another morning stream. Fanboy Prime was doing a stream this morning, so hopefully everybody's trickling over from there. Comic Cap Collectibles. Rich. Good morning. Appreciate everybody being here. I know Fantastic Comics and Art will be live following us at 11. So 22 Comics is here. He's driving somewhere. Good morning. Canned Onion Gaming, who formerly the man known as Neil Collects and Collectomania. Good morning, Neil. Mike is here. Evil Mike, Evil's Comics. Let's see.
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Rob is here. Everybody's saying good morning. All right, I think we caught everybody with the chat. We'll, if anybody else jumps in, we'll try to highlight their comment and say hello. So, Austin, why don't you tell us a little bit about, yourself and how you got into, comic books and, kind of your origin story.
Okay. I don't- a lot in third grade. Me and a lot of my friends like to goof around and my my friend was like a storyteller at the lunch table, and so I wanted to like make them into a visual. So me and him started making these comics, and we had Stupid Guy as a character. We had the Terminator as a character, and then we had Predator as a character. And these were all just stick figures. They look nothing
You're right.
like these. Um, and we just had a great old time. And then I also have mentioned this origin story in other shows. There was this bumper to like shows in on Cartoon Network, and one of them was the Easter Monkey. And for whatever reason, we just I gravitated towards that and made the Easter Monkey also a part of this character. He was the main guy. This monkey in an Easter bunny suit was commanding the Terminator, Predator, and this random Joe that was in the group. So we had a lot of fun in third grade doing that, but that's kind of where it started. Um, I had always liked to pitch ideas and stuff with my friend groups in making comics and stuff, but they never like came to fruition. I was very much into art and making those things, but I also found myself getting into writing. I really enjoyed making just a few. I made a few short stories on DeviantArt, and then I got into the World of Warcraft roleplay scene
Okay.
as I got older, and I had to write stories for my characters, do backstories, do stories for the scenarios that the character that all our my guild mates would be in the events. It was kind of a D&D-esque kind of thing, but we even had like paperwork that we had to do like we were in it. So yeah, that's kind of how this fascination all developed. I was very much into animations, like the Gargoyles when I was growing up, and
Oh,
Teen
okay.
Titans. And then I was introduced to anime. So coinciding with all this other development in my art and trying to figure out where I'm going with all this, I was getting into anime, the Full Metal Alchemist and Soul Eater and Attack on Titan. So that's how all this has kind of come to fruition.
Okay. Yeah. So from a very young age then.
Mm-hmm.
And did you gravitate towards comic books? Do you ever collect books or manga? What kind of how did you take that leap from making characters and drawing stuff to then actually did you
Mm-hmm.
get into like actually collecting books at some point?
For a short time, I've collected, and I still got my little box in the closet of Silk and Spider Gwen.
Okay.
I gravitated towards those. I liked Silk. She had kind of a story arc early on with Black Cat, and I really enjoyed that. Outside of that, the Silk writing was just a hit or miss. Usually a miss, but I still enjoyed getting to be in that. But once I kind of found out that Marvel and DC like to continuously make a reboot or restart things,
Right.
I kind of fell off the wagon because I didn't really want to stay in that loop. And that's why I really enjoyed the manga and the anime series, because they were very like, this is a narrative, this is a story, here it is, and it's got a start and it's got an end and you got to be particular. Like Full Metal Alchemist, it's got a start, it's got an end, and Soul Eater, it's got a start, it's got an end. One Piece is still going. We're not gonna talk about that, but but with that same vein, they have not rebooted One Piece. It has been the same story that started in 1999 that has still gone on today. It's been a one-track story, so that's what I really like about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons, Marvel, I think they do it because they're trying to attract new readers,
Mm-hmm.
or from a collector's perspective, right? If there's a new number one, people may, that may inflate sales, but it doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm Spider-Man, as you can see in the background, Spider-Man collector, and they just rebooted Amazing Spider-Man for the 7th time now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Well,
it's kind of an endless loop.
I think they're doing a great job with the movies so far. Like, I mean, they've had to reboot it 3 times, but these recent years, it feels like they've really started to nail it. And I think all those other, I think the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and then the next gen with Andrew Garfield, I thought as far as movies go, they have their charm and they have their parts about them. But I think that these recent Spider-Man movie projects have been pretty good, and especially Into the Spider-Verse. I love that
Oh
movie.
yeah. The animation port,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that kind of got both sides, right? The people that collectors or readers of anime,
Mm-hmm.
and then because of the style, the animation style, and then the fact that it's it was all of the Spider characters, right? Miles Morales,
Mm-hmm.
Spider Gwen, Peter Parker, so it kind of hit all the different
Yeah, hit a sweet
groups
spot.
of Spider people. So
Yeah, I thought they did an awesome job with that. So I did get into what caught my eye a few months ago was Predator versus Wolverine, and I got those four issues. I just like, this sounds way too awesome to pass up. I gotta get these, but
they just this past week, there's a Spider-Man Predator versus Spider-Man series that just came out. Yeah, very good.
Alrighty.
Issue 1 was kind of like a throwback story as far as like Peter Parker and like where he currently is. It's kind of more from. I almost felt like it was like from the '80s, and then it's a little gory, and you've got the Predator and running around New York City. So it
Okay.
was yeah, it was good. So I think if you like the first Wolverine Predator, I think it was a Black Panther versus Predator. So
Mhm.
yeah, this one's off to a good start.
I'll have to check. I'll have to look into that one. But as far as collecting goes, I'm collecting all the versions of Attack on Titan. I've got the colossal version here because the a manga comes in like this size, like kind of just a small chapter
Yeah, it's kind of
size.
like I guess an ash can size
Yeah.
compared to like a comic book. Yeah, but yeah.
So I got me the colossal size, or because the biggest Titan is called the Colossal Titan, and so they called their big versions the colossal versions, and so you can kind of look into that detail in the art, and it's not like Hajime is some kind of phenomenal, fantastic artist, but I still really enjoy getting to see, um, you know, the marks that are in this style. So, and then I'm trying to get all the little chapters and all the omnibuses. Um, I just love the story so much, and I got the in color version. So they just take some of the best of moments, put it in color.
Oh, okay.
My favorite character is Annie, the female Titan. I had this recently painted, but it's one of the better things to show her off. Um, so I get a lot of
Let me do that again.
okay, there we go. I get a lot of this merchandise of the female Titan, and then that's Annie. So she transforms into this. That may or may not be a spoiler to you, but it's a first season kind of situation. So you
Oh,
got a
okay. I got
lot to go. But uh, anything Annie that I can find, I get that. She was a very mysterious character for a while. A lot of people hated her, and I was like, I think there's something more to this character that people are just completely overlooking. And there was, turns out, So
you. Yeah, I don't think I've ever. So my son and daughter both have watched that series. Certainly, a lot of cosplayers at New York Comic Con and a couple of cons I've been to, but I don't think I've ever watched a single episode.
oh man.
But I've
Uh,
heard I've heard good things. I know it's very popular. So
mhm. It's not for everyone. I have to admit, there's people that give it a shot and they don't like it. I'm very into gritty stuff, and I'm into gory stuff, and I'm into horror, but then the Attack on Titan met a very particular chord with me because then I also enjoy like mixed martial arts, and I
okay,
enjoy and there's also like a kaiju aspect to it because things get giant, and so then there's not really as a Titan, there's not a whole lot of use of weaponry, so it's a lot of fist fighting. But what's interesting is a lot of the Titans also have their own like specialties. So like there's a one that can jump and has like a mighty jaw, and then there's one that can that's armored and has just this plate all over it, and then there's ones that can like put dial in like a diamond skin on particular parts of their body so it like protects them or makes their strikes hit harder. It's so fun. It's such a fun thing. So um there's horror, there's conspiracy. It just hit a chord with me that really drew me in. But I don't want to bog you down with just a bunch of Attack on
Well,
Titan
yeah, no,
talk.
we want to talk about your project, right?
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell, and I'll bring up the Kickstarter, and congrats. I just saw this morning when I brought up the link that you have met your funding goal. So, congrats on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was crazy. I missed a show last night. Not that it wasn't a show that I'd scheduled. It was just something that Katie popped in. She was like, "Hey, can you come in on this show? Their guest isn't able to make it." But I'd already had plans in motion going to Huntsville, going to like a karaoke bar, and there's like multiple bars in this like old school campus place, and I was like, I might can jump in if I can get a Wi-Fi password, but I wasn't able to make it. And but Katie and these guys pushed my campaign, and they got a few backers, and I was just thrilled. I can't sell my own stuff, man. Like I'm like this is my passion and what I love and my project, and then nothing. I got a lot of friends to back it, and even last night I got to hang out with Robbie Bills, and
Oh, okay, yeah, from
so
pop culture philosophers, yeah.
yeah, so I was talking to him. He had a friend with him. Kickstarter comes up. The friend's like, "You got a Kickstarter going on?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "What is it?" And I was like, "It's this," and he just goes and he puts in another $100. So last night was crazy.
Ah, 22 asked, he said, "Are you in Alabama?"
Yeah, I am. Huntsville area.
Okay, yeah, because 22 is in Alabama as well. So,
Which the Huntsville comic expo is going on right now. So there's a lot of people getting ready in my area, getting ready to go to that. I tried to get into it. I got put on a wait list as far as being a vendor, and then all my, I've got kids that I need to stay with on the weekends, if at all possible. So my months got packed with weekend stuff going on. So I couldn't make it this year, but next year I'm looking forward to going to that Pop Culture Expo because it is huge.
oh, so is it this weekend?
Yes, it's
Okay,
going right now.
so I think that explains probably where 22 is driving to. He's probably driving to the show.
Yeah, probably. He's going to go get a Weird Al signature.
So tell us a little bit about the current Kickstarter, Envy.
Yeah, so Envy is the Demon King Belial. She was brought into our world, going on a conquest to help her father Lucifer take over humanity. He's wanting to onset the world, wants to make war, wants to cause destruction and go against God again. But when Envy is brought into our world, the Archangel Michael put a huge wrench into that, and he skewered her, and now she made a pact with the druid Fritz, who summoned her in order to continue going and go on this trajectory of power to help Lucifer, and not be killed by the holy mark from Archangel Michael. She made a pact to live the life of a human, but when you make that pact, you have a lot of stuff that comes with that. There's a lot of as an entity, you don't know what ribs and organs and muscles and your knees feel like, and then on top of that, you have all these new emotions that are hitting you, these weird cravings that are going on. So I'm playing on that aspect, but as she learns new things, she's gonna get her temporary powers back. And I like to akin this to My Hero Academia with All Might. All Might will only have a temporary amount of power to go all out for a few hours in those first seasons. So it's very much the same with Envy. She's gonna kind of uncover something about being human. She'll get her powers back temporarily, but she will not be a full demon again until she understands what it means to be a human. So as she's going through this journey, Lucifer's other demons are coming out. So it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun characters. She's getting to get attached to her new coworker, and then the new demons are fighting and off in the Native American territories. So I'm trying to input a lot of lore into there.
Yeah, it sounds like a very detailed story, right? Or a lot of kind of sub plot things happening, right?
Yeah. The main through line, I kind of feel like needs, it's interesting, but it's gonna lack the gusto and the action, because she's not always going to be a demon. So tying in these other plots with the other demons really helps keep that supernatural stuff fresh, because I love having that's one of the main drivers of enjoying comics for me, and being in this pop culture realm. Is there's a lot of supernatural things happening, so there's a lot of beyond what you can do in real life kind of situations that I like to emphasize. Magic powers and fighting and abnormal strength, that kind of thing is a big part of this.
Okay. Let's see if we can. I'm going to try to play the trailer. Hopefully, people in the chat, just let me know if you can hear the audio.
Yeah, you'll just want to play about 1 minute, because then it's just going to get into me doing the same thing I'm doing right now.
All right. So yeah, it looks really good. I like the the style, the art looks really well done. So you're doing both the writing and the interior and some of the cover work as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's great to be able to do that. Be able to both write and do the artwork, because I've done my own books, and I've just been the writer, and working with an artist is kind of a give and take, of what maybe I initially had as a vision for the artwork, or a particular panel. But usually you can work with that. But being able to take your own script and be able to then draw it, you have that. There's no middleman, right? So
right.
you're really getting maximizing what you expect. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, it comes with a double-sided blade here, because you as a writer, you can write what you want and then send it off to who you trust, and then work with them, collaborate with them as they make it. But you can also if you're like I have a problem where I want to make more, and then but with art you got to really reel it back, and if you're just writing, like my friend Brandon Ingram, I think
Dismay, right? Yeah, Dismay Comics. Yeah.
He can have 2 or 3 different projects working at the same time, so that would be kind of nice. And I might do that in the future. I might write something, send it off while I'm also working on something. so you know, when the financials can kind of call for that,
Right.
um, but yeah, it is real though. It's really nice to be able to work on what develop the skill alongside the writing and try to get an idea of how you're going to pace it. Because also when you read 4 to 8 pages, it's just a matter of like a few minutes. But when you're working on 4 to 8 pages as an artwork, and the lettering and the writing, it feels like it's just this book, you know, because you've spent upwards of 2 weeks, you know, 2 or 3 weeks on it, and then you kind of have to have in your brain like, okay, I might still stay on this scene for a little bit longer, even though it feels like I've been on this scene forever, because as the reader is going to, you know, flip through that pretty fast. So it's a
Right.
whole round.
Especially with like action, right? Or fighting or action type scenes. Sometimes you can, from a dialogue perspective, it's just maybe not any dialogue. It's just description, but that
Mhm.
could take up, many more panels than you kind of envisioned, right?
Right. Oh yeah. And sometimes things don't take up as much as you thought that it was going to take up, and it's just a I need to. What's fun about reading more comics, Robbie has given me a lot of suggestions, and one of them is Hellboy. And I think Hellboy is so good with pacing out a story, especially in Mignola's later work, setting a tone, setting just a atmosphere, and then also executing on it. I think the pacing is just so good, and the dialogue and the history that he's able to manipulate there.
Comic Journey had a question. Asked how many days are left. So I think it looks it's under a week, right? I think there's 6 days left.
Yeah, there's just 6 days left, and so we can probably hit that funding goal, stretch goal, of $1,000, and everybody gets the glow in the dark baptism of Belial. It's on down there.
Yeah. I was gonna say let's
Yeah.
get. Here it is. Right, stretch goal.
Mm-hmm.
So the glow in the dark sticker.
Mm-hmm. So everybody would get that if we can hit 1,000. I already have a funding bonus for people. That once we funded, it would be included in everybody's physical rewards. Uh, a new sticker of Lust there. Mm-hmm.
Yep, there's the sticker. Yeah, that's great. Now, so is that your artwork?
Yes.
Yeah, that looks amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really fun because I work a desk job, and that desk job has a lot of downtime, and my director is fine with me working on whatever I want to work on. So I get a lot of hours in practice in
That's good.
drawing. So
That's nice of your employer to allow
yes,
you to do that, right?
yes, absolutely. Um, so
And I noticed. So you have a couple different variant covers,
mhm. So
and the Jonathan McDaniel cover really kind of stands out. It
yeah,
almost when I first saw it, let's get back up to it. I mean, it almost looks. Um, it initially kind of just looking at it was like, whoa, is that a photo? And then like, no,
yeah.
okay, it's a it's a drawn piece, but yeah, that's a pretty stunning piece and interesting to see too, right? How do you feel about when so here's characters and that you've created, and now you've turned them over to somebody else to give their impression of the character.
I love it. I watched one of your videos recently, how you were talking about working with an artist, how you don't want to shackle them too much, and because when you pick somebody to be an artist, you have looked at what they've made, and you make a judgment call off of like their portfolio and what they've shown you. And I think it's counterintuitive to be like, hey, I like what you made, but I want you to make it differently, you know? So, um, when I get an artist, I'm like, hey, however you see it in your brain, and here's all the material that I've made about this character, and you know, you'll obviously pull from that, but however you see the character, and how you want to make it, that's up to you. You know, and when I give the cover projects for both Adam and Jonathan so far, I've been like, hey, if you I need a cover, and here are the big scenarios happening in the comic, and here are the characters that are, you know, going to be very intrinsic to this issue. Pick from any of those characters that you like, that you want to make. Pick and do it in whatever style you want to do it in. Doesn't matter to me. So they've been really good. Getting to work with them on doing these covers, and I've been very happy with how they've turned out.
Yeah, no, like I said, I this one's kind of stood out. And Metal Elf had a question: was Poison Elves an influence?
I would have to say no, because I'm not sure what Poison Elves is. I don't.
I'm assuming that's another anime, but yeah, I'm not familiar either.
I think my biggest influences for this particular project has been Gargoyles and Attack on Titan. So
okay,
that's kind of where I tell people this story kind of meets in tone, in look, in all that kind of stuff.
So what is the is this an ongoing story, or do you have, what's the grand plan for Envy?
So I think issue 4 is going to make up the volume number 1, and I think that it's going to go for about two volumes, is what I'm foreseeing. Now it might, and so that might be a total of about 8 or 9 issues, but I'll definitely wrap it up before 12, because I've got other projects that I'm going to be working on, and later on in life, you know, in about an 8 to 10 year trajectory, I do have a big fantasy story that I want to work on, and that would be like a really, you know, Game of Thronesy kind of ongoing project for me.
All right, so the chat clarified. So Poison Elves was an indie black and white comic from the 80s. Comic Journey says Poison Elves, long-standing independent comic series. Not one I was familiar with. Okay.
I'm actually going to write that down so I can give it a look.
It's piqued my interest too. Maybe it's one of those that I'm like, oh, okay. When I see it, I'll be like, oh, I do remember it, but definitely have to check that out. So why don't we take a look at some of the rewards? So there is you have the digital kind of catch up, right? The PDFs of each of the first 3 issues.
Yes. There should be a very basic first reward, which would be the digital PDF of issue number 3.
Okay. Yep. It's right here.
Yeah. And
yeah. So I you know why I think, so I backed the, digital kind of catch up issues 1 through 3. So I think that's why it shows there.
And I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
But yeah, the first tier is going to be your digital copy, just a basic $6. You know, if you got the first 2 from the last Kickstarter, you know, and you don't want to spend, you know, more money than you have to, you get the single number 3 by itself. And then you've
got the digital and then the physical, right? Physical book.
The next step up is the physical.
Yeah.
And I'll sign it. I'm going to sign all these this time. Make sure everybody gets a signed copy for showing support at the Kickstarter. And then the next step up is all the PDFs included, not just the number 3 PDF.
Okay, so the physical book and then I might have to change my selection. I think I have to get that one.
That would be awesome. I would love it, and you'd get those bonus stickers as well.
In photo, yeah. I mean, because having the physical. I mean, I like the digital option, but certainly from a cost perspective, and being able to send it, anywhere in the world, you could via email and you're good to go. But having the physical copy as well is always. All right. So now this is the variant cover.
Yes.
Issue 3, and then the digital copies as well, right?
Yeah, and Jonathan, I reached out and was like, hey, if you send me some of these variants, I'll sign them and send them back to you to give out. So if people are good with waiting a little additional, 2-3 weeks to do that, I might have a few copies of that Jonathan signs on as well. But yeah, these are limited. When I do a variant cover, they're limited. I'm not printing any more than 50, so they have a little bit higher of a price range. So if you back that one, it's 30, but it's still at a discount price. Those it's like $5 off, and then the digital PDFs basically come with it for free. So also a great deal there if you want the variant cover.
Yeah, and then just mention all of the optional add-ons, right? You've got a number of stickers, and then you can still get the physical issues of 1 and 2. Those are available as add-ons as well. So
yes, and the shipping is cut off from add-ons, by the way. So there's no additional shipping because I should be able to keep those shipping costs relatively down with all that flat packaging.
And then now you have all 3 physical issues and the PD and the digital copies all signed. So that's a bundle as well.
Yep. Just your standard covers, not much else to add on there. But if you want all 3, also at a really good rate there.
And then the last one is pretty much everything, right?
Well, yeah, the last one is your variant covers. So you get all the variant cover options. The first variant cover is especially rare because that was a test print that I sent to a different printer. And I just put a different cover on it, and they sent me 10 copies, and I have 4 left. So that's why there's only that one. That limit is set at 7 is because I only have 7 left, and now I only have 4. So
okay, all right, good. That's
Adam Caswell did the second variant cover for issue number 2. Beautiful work of Archangel Michael. So everybody's I've got 3 people that tapped in on that tier, so it's pretty popular.
Yeah, no, it's good. And then like I said, all the add-ons, stickers, and then if you want to catch up on the physical copies of issues 1 and 2, you have that available.
Yeah. I didn't do anything crazy or weird because I don't know, a lot of the logistics on my first Kickstarter. I might have got in over my head a little bit because there were some like original art stuff that I was posting, but like when it comes to that kind of thing, packaging and shipping plays a big role in making sure that gets to your backers safely. Fortunately, the backer I knew was gonna be in person, so I just could hand it over to her.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. No, I was just shipping out my Kickstarter for the doctor this past week, and shipping within the United States relatively inexpensive. The UPS or post office has the ground advantage option now, which is kind of a cheaper tier than priority. But international is just it's just crazy. So
yeah.
Same book, a single book that you can ship for $5, within the States is like $40 international.
It's big.
So it's crazy.
I think JSS had a question.
Okay, yeah, I was too busy scrolling through the Kickstarter.
At 9:34. No, it's okay. I just want. I saw it and I took note of it.
Oh, here you go. I'm interested in the cover art and artist. Very cool comparison. I'm interested in the cover art and the artist named Austin who did that.
The very first one, the very first variant cover for issue number 1 was me.
Okay.
And I did that one.
Let me see. I don't know if I can bring that.
I think it's at the bottom before the stretch goals in my campaign.
Okay. Let's see.
I think that's what JSS is referring to. So that was one of the very first times I colored something like on a serious level. I was like, okay, I want to color this really good.
So this cover here with the orange background, that's okay. That's issue 1?
Yes.
Okay.
That's issue 1 variant cover. But I do like getting other artists. I do like having their idea of what something is, how they see something. So that's why I do like getting other people to do the variant covers now.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I printed a sketch cover for my book because I want to be able to get it in the hands of other artists and just have them, maybe do their take on one of the characters in the book. So,
yeah, I might be doing sketch covers next time, but the next one might be the omnibus and issue 4. So, but that's a big year in advance. So we'll see how that goes.
And let me see. Let me remove that. Let me add your website. So I know you wanted to talk a little bit about your website.
Yeah. So on here you can go read the updates as they come out. So first, they're not first draft. They're finals. But if you wanted to. But when they go to print, I do remaster some of the things. I do make sure everything's spelled correctly. I fix some of the fonts. Like midway through, I went from Wild Words to the Gibbons font, so I'm going to go back and re-letter some of this stuff and make sure that that's right. I might fix some art things, like even right here in this page where this guy's sitting. I might throw a shadow behind him from the fire. But you can go read the comic on my website, and then you can also a big
now, are
thing
you
is
releasing like a page a day, or
I'm releasing an update every 2 or 3 weeks, so you'll get anywhere from 3 to 5 pages worth of stuff released. So that's your desktop version. I don't. No, let me see. I need to pull up my mobile version because if you're at all familiar with Webtoons, I have it set up and I cut them in a way that you can read them in a scrollable format.
Yes, yeah, I did see that on the website, and I'm just for the chat. I'm dropping links. Drop the Kickstarter link and Austin's website as well. So if you guys want to go give that a follow, follow him on Instagram or just sharing, right? If you can't back financially, sharing it out and getting it in front of your audience is a great way to help support. So if you can
Absolutely.
do that, 6 days left, just maybe share out. Share it out.
Another big thing is the mailing list. If you get direct updates from me, I'll email out the comic book updates, this with the story, and then you also get exclusive stuff behind the scenes. Maybe a time-lapse drawing of how I did something, or what I might be working on next, or where I might be appearing. So and then like, additional Kickstarter heads up. So, and then I do have my social media here. So if you're interested in following me on X or
Yep.
any other,
Yes. Apex just asked, "Are you on X?" So
yeah.
that was good timing.
My all my links are here in on my website. And right now the banner does go to my Kickstarter. If you want to go to the website, click on the banner, it goes right to the Kickstarter. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
the website, I dropped the link, but it's AmericanDemonComics.com. So definitely go check it out.
mhm. Yeah. So that's pretty much all there is to it. If you want to find out a little bit about the characters in the story, I do have the about page up. So I'm just trying to make sure it's accessible to everybody, that they have an idea of what the characters look like, how they interact, and what some of their characteristics are.
Now, do you think, for some, I know you mentioned some future projects. Do you think you'll kind of continue down this same genre, this kind of horror, supernatural, is
Mhm.
that kind of the area that you think you'll continue to write and draw in?
I believe so. Now I'm no fortune teller. Who knows what life has ahead of
Right, right.
how much I could change in 10 years. But as far as I can tell, ever since I was a child, I had a fascination in those crappy documentaries about the chupacabra and UFOs and hauntings and stuff like that. So I've always been invested in that kind of stuff, and I think that in the future that will be what I work on. My next project is going to be a Western involving Bigfoot and
Oh,
the Hudson Bay Company, fur trade, and the burgeoning federal government of the U.S. and how all those things are going to kind of intertwine with a Western setting. It's not going to be like desert Old West, but it'll be like the how kind of Red Dead 2 expanded on the map and put in your Dakotas and your Colorado and your northern I think even like Canada kind of esque places. So I think that would be very, very fun to work with in the horror genre, but also tie in some of these things that I love, like conspiracies.
so you mentioned, the anime influence. What about, movies, or what other things influence your? And you mentioned some Red Dead, right? Get a video
Mhm.
game. So what other influences do you have impacted, your work?
Well, I really have fallen off like movies recently, but I do catch them every now and then. I loved the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a long time,
Okay.
and then uh, I watch. Right now we've watched Black Mirror, so I enjoyed the ideas and concepts behind Black Mirror. I like sci-fi, but I don't like the Star Wars, Star Trek sci-fi. I like
All
the
right. I don't think we
soft
can be friends then.
sci-fi.
No, I'm not a big Star Trek guy. Star Wars, that was kind of right
Mhm.
in my wheelhouse. The kids, they enjoy it. So yeah,
Mhm.
big Star Wars. I don't know if I can say too excited about some of the recent stuff, but overall, it's been good.
Yeah. Well, World of Warcraft. That was
Oh yeah, you
another
mentioned that. Yeah.
big influence for me. I played that since I was also about like 12 years old. I got the free trial, and my big box monitor was and Dell business CPU was having a hard time with with that game, but I tried. Um, and I played it up until about 3 years ago, right when I started all this comic book stuff, because that role play community kind of fell off, and like not only that, but like the whole narrative of World of Warcraft kind of felt like it was turning into something that I was not a part of. Like it wasn't feeling like it used to feel. And so
Okay.
that's kind of what really onset me to be like, I'm going to do what I've always, dreamed of doing, and make these characters and make these stories, because the stories around me are kind of falling apart, at least to my, how I see them. So, but yeah, World of Warcraft was a huge influence. And then, let's see, I love Rambo. Um, yeah, I love Rambo. And another recent one was Hereditary. That one was
I don't think I've seen that.
really fun. That's a good horror movie. Um, Hereditary was just it's just kind of shattered all the other horror movies I've ever seen. Like it just did such a good job. And some people don't like how it ended. Some people love how it ended. For me, it doesn't really matter how I like the ending, but I also can see how it kind of fell apart to some people. But I think that the whole journey that A24 studio was able to craft out of the Hereditary movie was really, really good. No matter how it ended, just how they foreshadowed when you watch it once, you're like, oh God, I don't want to watch that again. But you watch it a second time, and you're like, whoa, oh wow, there's pieces that you completely went by you the first time.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, good. Yeah, that's the one I'm not familiar with. I'll have to. I'm not a big horror watcher of horror movies. I think it was because when I was a kid, my older brother was watching The Hills Have Eyes, the original
Mm-hmm.
Hills Have Eyes, and I was like 7 or 8, and the movie freaked me out. And then I had to go to bed because I had to get up and go to school the next morning. And he snuck into my room and was like hiding under the bed
Oh,
when I
no.
went to bed. And he freaked me out, and I ran out of the room. And so I think that trauma as a child has now jaded me from horror movies.
Yeah. I don't know. I used to not like horror movies. I thought that they were just bad juju, but ever since I've kind of grown up, I've been like, I'm going to try and be a little bit more open to stuff, and I really enjoy these past 5 or 6 years. I've given the horror genre more of a chance. There's some really interesting stuff that people are making.
Yeah, no,
but I
right.
totally
There's
understand.
definitely, like every year there seems to be a new wave, right? There's, who's it? Peele, right? Jordan Peele, is it Jordan
Mm-hmm.
Peele?
Yeah.
Doing, yeah, a lot of the, kind of updated, scary, horror type movies. So yeah. So
Absolutely.
what's been your biggest challenge, with trying to create an independent comic, right? I know for me, I'm not a I can't, I hate asking people for money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the sales part of it is kind of like the tough piece of it, um, so I wonder, I wonder what it's been for you.
Um, I don't know if that's the toughest thing, but man, that's up there, is just being like, hey, I need your money. Because on the first Kickstarter, there were several people that were like, oh, I didn't know a Kickstarter was going on. I would have gave you money. And I was like, I told you about it once, like,
Right.
so, so I was like, maybe they're putting on a front for me and they don't really want to, so I'm not going to ask again, so I'll give you that once, but I don't want to be pushy. And
Right.
so
Right.
the second time came around, I was like, hey, you guys said that to tell you that I got a Kickstarter, and here it is, like, so, but yeah, asking for, doing the sales stuff is rough. But I think the hardest part is what I mentioned earlier, is that I really want to get more into the meat of each of my stories, and then I also want to also start on the other stories at the same time, but doing the writing and the art and the lettering and the promotions and everything for one comic is so encompassing that it's hard to get into all the stuff I really want to do. But it's fulfilling. I love it that, you know, your characters come to life. They have these characteristics, and the story is unfolding because I have the skeleton of my stories. You know, I got to know how this is gonna pan out, at least in a skeleton form. But for the most part, I just kind of throw the seeds on the ground and see where the characters are gonna kind of intertwine, or how they're gonna go. So getting to see these plants, you know, start to bloom is really fun.
Yeah, no, I'm similar. I'll do an outline, a rough outline, or some plot points, or some themes that I want to hit within the story. But then I start just writing the script and kind of see where it goes. And sometimes it'll go in a different direction than I initially had outlined.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's interesting sometimes once you get into that process and how things may change. Or sometimes I'll write an outline 6 months ago and don't get to actually writing the script, and maybe something has changed in my life, or there's been some new influence, or somebody I've met or something that could kind of take that story in a different direction. So yeah, it's interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I dropped a link again, but 6 days left for Envy issue 3. You do have the options to pick up issues 1 and 2, digitally, physical copies. So definitely, if you'd like to support it, definitely do that now before the Kickstarter ends. It is fully funded, so you will be getting the books. And like I said, if you can't support it financially, or if this is your kind of genre of book, definitely just share it out to your audience, on X or Instagram, or wherever it may be. That will certainly help. I mean, I know I always feel like I'm working on issue 3 of my book, and it's like, well, when should I do the Kickstarter? Because I don't want to do too frequent that it seems like I'm always asking people for money. But then also, it's the promotion schedule. Like that month that you have the Kickstarter running, it's like, you're on different live streams or podcast, or just trying to promote it as much as you can. It's not like working, a 9 to 5, but it is a lot of work where you're constantly thinking about it, and constantly, trying to line up opportunities to share it with maybe an audience that, that's not familiar with it. So it can be, it's not like physical work. I'm not digging a ditch or, breaking concrete, but it's kind of mentally, it can be
demanding.
Stressful.
Yeah. And it's just I'm constantly pulling up the page, like, okay, how's it doing right now?
Right, yeah.
How's it doing right now?
Watching the numbers. Yeah.
But you can't let that take you down. Or you can't let that kind of consume you. I have to, like, take a step back from the phone, go to my girlfriend, give her some kisses, and and then watch a show, and just and be all right. But you gotta then the next day it's lock in time. Gotta lock in and find the next show, find the next person, and try and promote, because it is demanding. It takes a lot. And you said it on your tips for your Kickstarter. It's great to have an audience to start out with, and I don't have one, and it has been very hard to get $750. But I plan on making a YouTube presence in topics and stuff that I enjoy, but the comic itself is also very demanding. So it's hard to fill in that gap, but it comes with an understanding that this is at least 5 years, if not 10, to have a presence, to have a loyalty to people having faith in your stories and your delivering and everything. So I do understand that that's the process, and I can't get down about that, but it can be very demanding.
Yeah, no, and I've seen that with some other Kickstarters. Just looking at other projects that are on Kickstarter, and I've had some other creators reach out to me, and I'm surprised at how many projects have been launched where they don't really have a plan or built in. They don't have any following on any social media platform, and it's tough to be successful because there's so many projects out there. Like if you look at Kickstarter in the comic book category, there's at any given time I think the last I looked there was like 30,000 projects. So
it's crazy.
You get noticed just simply on that platform if you're if you don't have some type of following ahead of time. So
yeah. Well, everybody, go fund the Kickstarter. It's close to 1,000. If we hit 1,000, you all get a nice glow in the dark sticker. I get my stickers high quality from Sticker Ninja, and they go on vehicles just fine. They go anywhere just fine. They're very durable. So I highly recommend. If you want some of these bonuses, you can still pledge, and like you said, if it's not in your if it's not in the wallet, then you can go sub to the mailing list and share out the project, and all that is very much appreciated, and I love everybody that has shown up for it.
Yeah, appreciate it. We had a pretty good chat this morning, so appreciate everybody stopping in. And there were a couple. Gene, I just wanted to mention Gene. Gene, thanks for your channel membership. 22 months, only 2 months away from 2 months away from 2 years.
Hell yeah!
And JSS with the $1.99 super chat. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Looking forward to seeing JSS at Heroes Con. But yeah, Austin, anything else you want to mention before we head out and head over to Philtastic? He's live. He's going live this morning, so I'm going to head over there and hang out with him.
All right. No, I don't think I have anything to add this morning except station.
Yes, but appreciate you coming on, finally having you on, and continued success with the project. Glad to see it was fully funded. I got to go back in. I got to change my pledge to the physical copy as well.
I really appreciate you having me on today and backing the Kickstarters. It really means a lot.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. It's just being a creator, and having Kickstarters myself. I try to support as many others as I can because I know it from the creator side, so I know how it can be. So, but yeah, just drop the link one more time. So definitely go check it out.
And we're all looking forward to issue 3 on the Doctor.
Thank you. Yeah. It's with the artists. So hopefully I'll start to have some preview pages back soon, and I'm looking forward to it too. It's been fun. It's certainly a fulfilling to produce a comic book, like you said, to be able to take a character and then see it in on page in an art an art style. So it's been fun. So. All right, Austin, thanks so much. Let's see. We'll leave you, Saturday morning comics. We'll give you an old Saturday morning show as we ride off here.
All right.
Thanks, Austin.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Yep. Thanks to the chat too, everybody hanging out this morning.